Hey everybody, this is Julie with Crafty Beach. What are we going to make today? First, if you could take a minute, hit that subscribe button and give me a big thumbs up, I would really appreciate it. I'm a newbie and it really helps. Today, we're going to learn how to do sublimation onto Oracal vinyl to make these Dollar Tree cutting boards amazing. So, I've never done this before, guys. So first thing I'm going to do is take the little feet off the cutting board. They're sticky, and so the sticky can, I think, be reused, but it left lots of gunk behind. So I'm using some Goo Gone. I probably spent too long doing this, and I'm trying to scrape it off and get any residue off. So the cutting boards at Dollar Tree, they have two different ones. They have the square and the circle. And they are a smooth glass on one side and they're like a rough glass on the other. And I want the smooth to be on the top, I think, which is kind of reverse of how they're set up to be used. Just because I think it'll be prettier. So I finally got that all off. So I have my mat for my Easy Press. I'm just using some parchment paper I picked up at Dollar Tree. And I am laying it down. I don't have any alcohol, so I'm using hand sanitizer to try to get any kind of residue off of the cutting board. So I went to Michael's and I bought Oracal white vinyl because I've heard that you can sublimate on this and that the image will go all the way through. So that's what we're going to try here. So I measured my cutting boards and I put the dimensions into Cricut. You know, it's super easy to do shapes on there. So I just did a square, and you know what? I had it in there upside down. I'm so used to doing HTV. This is the proper way to do it. Label down. So try again. Don't worry, I do get to reuse that scrap. So just gonna save my extra. I'm gonna peel it away from the mat. I don't really want to use any transfer tape or anything. I don't think I really need to. I'm just going to try to pull it off like a big sticker. Okay, so sticky side up, and I am going to attach it to the rough side of the cutting board. So I just kind of line it up. I almost get it perfect. I'm just using my little Cricut scraper to make sure it's down. There was a little tiny bit of overhang, but not too bad. So this is an image I found on Canva. And I have like an aqua blue kitchen, and I know that doesn't look aqua blue, but sublimation's kind of weird. It will come up duller colors than you're expecting. So I'm just trying to cut it and line it up. I made it a tiny bit bigger than my vinyl, but probably not big enough. And I'm trying to avoid having like white lines over on the side. Okay, so I got my setup going on here. The first thing you're supposed to do is go ahead and put your Easy Press on there and melt the vinyl, get it all gooey. And you can see it like takes on the texture of the back of the board. So then I'm going to carefully try to attach my sublimation paper. And you don't have to do a reverse image because it comes straight through. So no flipping like you do normally with sublimation. So I went 400 for 1 minute, and then I want to look at it. But it is scalding hot, so I'm trying to figure out a way. To flip this over and see if anything's came through yet. I know it's too early, and then I just give up. So I go ahead and do another minute, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I really want to look at it. I'm going to find some way to flip it without burning myself. And wow, look at that. The image came all the way through the vinyl and it looks so pretty. I'm trying to get good light to show you. I'm struggling here. My camera's falling over. Okay, so it turned out really pretty, but I've heard that you're supposed to do it for 2.5 minutes. So I'm like, I'm not sure if it's really done. Let me flip it back over and do it for like another 30 seconds. And that's what I do. And I don't think it really changed anything. I think it kind of comes out the same. And then I take it to the sink and I scrub it scrub it, scrub it, scrub it. So I soaked it in water and pulled the paper off because the sublimation paper is stuck. And then I scrubbed it with like a wet paper towel, and I thought I got everything off, but I didn't. There was still some residue. So I went over it with just like a wet wipe and then a paper towel and got all the residue off. Okay, so I'm going to use this adhesive cork that I got at the Dollar Tree. It's exactly the right width. So I'm kind of using that as a guide on the other one, but yeah, it's not going to cut with this X-Acto blade. So scissors to the rescue. And it's adhesive, so it'll be insulating for, you know, the hot plate, and it'll just stick right on, and it will look nice, and it'll cover up the vinyl on the bottom of the hot plate. And so I'm just going to kind of lay it on, so sticky side up, sit it on there, and I did not get it on there straight, or I cut it wrong, but it is close enough. Not bad for my first try. So I'm doing a little trimming. I had a little hanging over, and sand that off, and wow, I am like in awe of how beautiful it is. I put my little feet back on, and I love it. I had to run and show my entire family what I made. Look at how beautiful it is. I love this cutting board. I think I can leave it out all the time, but I made it specifically for spring, but it's so pretty. Oh, I love it. Okay, so it's time to make the circular one, and I am so excited about the first one that I got all confident, and I forgot steps. So it works, but it's not as good as the first one. Okay, so again, I'm just taking my feet off, trying to get the residue off. I don't work as hard at it this time. I'm like, it's gonna come off one way or another. I do go in with a little bit of Goo Gone again to try to get that adhesive off and get this thing ready to go. Go ahead and clean it with my hand sanitizer. And I'm gonna cut out a circle. So there's that scrap that I cut out wrong of my Oracal vinyl, and I'm putting that in my Cricut and cut out a perfect little circle. And again, I'm just gonna use it like a giant sticker. So I'm gonna try to leave it sticky side up. I hope it doesn't touch. And lay it on rough side to the sticky vinyl. Smooth side up and scrape it on. And I had something on there. I was just cleaning it up, and I am gonna try to cut my adhesive cork with my Cricut. I've never done this before. I used the cork setting. Oh gosh, I hope this works. And here's the image that I found on Canva that I want to use for it, just a beach scene. I'm going to go ahead and cut it out so I know where the edges of the picture are to help me line it up. I made it just a tiny bit bigger than the vinyl, and this is where I got crazy. Like, I completely forgot to heat the vinyl up to make it like attached to the board. I just went for it. So I went 400 degrees for 2.5 minutes. Completely forgot my Cricut mat, everything. Luckily, I had cardboard underneath of me, and nothing melted, but I got really nervous. But I didn't want to screw it up. And it is hot on fire. And then I'm like, oh yeah, here's my mat. And that is what it looks like. So again, I took it to the sink. That really helps cool it off. And I started trying to get that residue, the paper residue, off the back. And just rubbing it with like a wet wipe. And this is what it looks like. I was a little worried. I think some of the vinyl like melted in the sky a little bit, but my adhesive cork was a failure because I forgot that the sheet was exactly the same width, and there gives you a margin. And so it's almost a perfect circle. Now it cut through the backing and it cut through the cork, but only slightly. So I'm just kind of using that as a guide to finish the cut. And I'm like, this is the only one I have. So I am gonna make this work. See how the bottom is cut off? So I get creative with my scraps. So I use a scrap piece and then I use an arch piece, and I kind of like try to figure out what I need. Trying to use my X-Acto knife again, it totally doesn't work. So I use my scissors and I try to cut out a tiny piece for the bottom, and I stick it on there and nobody will ever know, right? Except for you guys. I'm gonna reattach my little sticky legs, and that is the final product. It turned out pretty too. I think I like the flower one more. Which one is your favorite? I just love how they turned out. Aren't they gorgeous? Look at the blue in this flower and my beautiful beach scene. I love it. What do you guys think?